out over there?
What's your password to your screen?
Oh my gosh. What's my password? It's my finger. You're going to have to bring it over here so I can touch it with my finger.
Are you on right now?
I'm on right now.
You're like putting your password out there in the open, Joan. I need to choose on.
Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see you. You probably guessed from the giggling and what's been kind of going on behind me here. I have Joni and Chachi in the house again today. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, you guys. I had a wonderful lunch. I did a lot of giggling. And I ate 2 donuts, if you count the halves and make a whole out of, yeah. So I'm full, I'm fat and happy, and I'm ready to make a design.
I can't find
So, how's everybody been? I feel like it's been a minute. I always feel that way on Tuesdays because it's been a while, right? It's been since Friday since we've seen each other. And Tuesdays are usually my Mondays. So, hi Wanda. Hi Mary. How you guys doing? Hi Maggie. I'm so glad to see everybody. Hi Sherry. How are you? Ruth is here. So, you guys, I had some requests last week and had a request here, and I also had a request over in the Hardwired group, and I decided to take those requests, but I tweaked them just a little bit, so it's a little bit different, but we can still do the things that were asked of me exactly. I know, I feel like you gave me instructions and I just kind of was like, nah. That's so not what happened. I really have, Sarah Lovecraft says, it's me, Kathy. I know. But anyway, you guys, I was asked to do some macrame for this week. I was specifically asked to do a macrame anklet for the Hardwired group. I am doing a macrame project that can be an anklet. And I thought, you know what? I love macrame so much. Let's do that here as well, because this project was also requested and can be altered. And so I thought, you know, we're just going to make it a naughty week. We're being naughty this week. So that's what we've got going on. We're going to do a 3-row macrame style bracelet. Now, some of you have already seen this because this is a throwback project to one that I actually did previously back on my YouTube channel. So I don't think that I ever did this as a live, but I did do it as a project that I recorded. So for those of you who have never seen it before, this will be the first time seeing it. It's pretty easy, but the results are so nice. So I'm looking forward to showing that to you guys. Hi, Susie. Hi, Terry. Marsha. Marsha, where have you been? Maria is here. You guys, Joan and Colleen are here, and they're being so good. They're being so quiet.
Whoa! I wasn't ready.
Colleen says, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Thank you, Marsha. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Joan. Oh, all right. So what do you need for today's project? You guys, the list of materials is next to nothing for this, which is another reason why I really enjoy these kinds of projects. Naughty, not naughty. Well, I'm okay. Like I said, Joan and Colleen are here. I mean.
And the heavy breathers with me.
The whiny one is under my desk. Colleen's supposed to be in charge of Cooper, but he's
out of control.
He's out of control. He's really not. Okay, so let's talk. Okay, so for the materials for this project, you are going to need 4 pieces of hemp. I originally did this with 10-pound hemp. So for those of you who are not familiar with how hemp is measured, it's not really so much about the diameter nearly as much as it is about the pound of hemp. You can do this project with 10-pound hemp or 20-pound hemp. What does that mean? It's less than 1 millimeter. So you're looking for a pretty small, but not like super fine hemp. You need 4 pieces that are 6 feet. 6 feet long each, okay? I know that sounds like a lot, but we're actually going to fold those in half. So we're actually only going to be working with 3 feet of all of those, okay? You're also going to need some sort of bead. I'm using some 8mm Czech glass rounds just because I like the way that they look, but you can use literally any kind of bead that you want to. The only other things that you're going to need for this are some scissors, maybe some glue, and a button if that's going to be your clasp. I always go with a button because it's just the easiest. The other thing is I'm using the tying station. If you don't have a tying station, you can use a clipboard or you can tape this down with painter's tape to your work surface. You just want to be sure that you can access all of the strands. That's a lot, I know. All right, so I'm going to turn you guys around. I'm going to show you the beads and we're going to go ahead and get started with this, shall we? All right, let's get to it. Okay, so as far as the beads, I'm obsessing this time of year over blue. You guys know I've used so much blue lately, and this color in particular is so calming and just so pretty. So this is the color that I'm going to use. You can use whatever you want to. In fact, you don't even have to use Czech glass rounds, okay? This actually looks really cool with pearls. If you've got glass pearls, it's a really fun way to use your pearls. I'm also using just regular colored hemp, but you can get hemp in some really amazing colors. I'm just using the standard, you know, kind of creamy brown color, whatever you want to call it. It's not white. But again, you need 4 pieces that are 6 feet long. And we're actually going to waste a piece that's about 3 feet. Just bear with me. You can always use it for something else. But what you want to do is you want to bring your ends together and you want to find the middle of the 6 feet. So bring all the ends together. All right, find the middle. Okay. And now we're just going to tie an overhanded knot. You want to be sure, I'm going to use a button for my clasp here. You want to be sure that the loop that you tie is going to be big enough to accommodate your button. Okay, so that's actually what your clasp is going to be. So don't tie a knot until you know for sure that your loop is going to be big enough. Okay, so just overhand knot, stick your button in there, and that looks good. So now I'm gonna tighten down my knot. Okay, and I'm going to pull each individual strand because this is a lot of strands, right? We started out with 4. Now that we've put them in half, we've got 8. That's a lot to work with, and it also doesn't make a very tight knot if you don't pull each individual strand. So just take a second to do that because you definitely don't want this to come undone. Okay, so pull each one of those nice and tight. All right, there we go. Okay, now take my finger out of the loop here, and I'm going to attach this to the top of the tying station. Okay, so I'm going to unscrew the wing nut. I'm going to take off the washer and the plate. Hi, Janice. And I'm going to put that over the peg, and then I'm just going to put all of that back on. So I'm going to put the plate back on, the washer. Don't forget the washer. If you put the wing nut down without the washer and you tighten it down too much, you will crack the acrylic plate. So that's what that washer is for. Don't lose it. Okay. All right. Once you have that secure, now what we want to do is we want to separate our strands out. So we want 3 strands. Adjust. Hold on. Lois says she loves her tying station. I know, I love mine too. They're so fun for all kinds of different things. All right, so on the right-handed side, you want 3 of your cords. So I'm just going to take those 3 and separate those out to the right. Okay. The same thing on the left. I want 3 strands over here on the left. I'm going to separate those out. And now I have 2 strands in the middle. Now here's where that waist is going to come in. And this might upset some of you, but it's just hemp. And it's a nice long piece of hemp that you can use for other things. So don't get too mad at me. What we're going to do is we're actually going to come in with a cutter. And of those 2 strands that are right in the center, we're going to cut one of them off. Cut it as close to your knot as you can get. Now, if you did individual strands to make up your work here instead of folding 4 pieces in half, you can do this without cutting a strand off as waste. But because I needed doubles, right? There was no other way to make 7 strands and an overhanded knot here. You know what I mean, okay? Again, it's just it's just hemp, and that one piece I can use for other things. Okay. All right. Now I've got one piece in the center, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put some beads on this one. Hi, Nicole. So I'm just going to go ahead and load up my center strand with some beads, maybe. Come on now. Probably should have double checked to make sure that my beads were going to fit onto this hemp. No! That's what I get for just assuming that I had a great project.
It is a great project.
It is a great project, but it looks like, there we go. Just gonna take a little saliva, if you will. All right, it's gonna take a minute to do this. This is really, really frustrating. I assumed that these were all going to fit just really easily. But I assumed wrong. And I can tell I'm going to pay for that through this entire project. Goodness, maybe I should grab a different bead, you guys. Well, I know that they will fit. It just takes a minute. Okay, so I'm not going to preload this strand. We're just gonna go with what we've got here. So, okay, what we're gonna do, we're just gonna leave it like that. Okay, we'll have to add more beads to that, obviously, as we go. I'm going to go ahead and attach this, though, down here to the bottom. Okay, just to kind of keep it out of the way. It's only got 2 little beads on it. It's going to need more than 2. That's okay. Yeah, you could use wax. I just did not grab any. What you looking for, Joan?
Scissors.
Scissors. Here you go. No, you stay over there. You stay over there. Have some scissors. Joan's causing trouble. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on one side, okay? We're going to start on either the left or the right. It makes absolutely no difference which side you start on because both of these sides are going to be exactly the same, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to do square knots, and a lot of you guys are very familiar with the square knots. If you're not, I'm going to walk you through it as best as I can, okay? So just using the 3 strands that are over here on the left-handed side or the right, makes no difference, okay? I'm going to separate these out. So my tying station is kind of at an angle. I'm going to pick up the right-handed strand of these 3, and I'm going to make a P shape over this center strand that is just coming straight down the middle, okay? And then I'm going to take my left-handed strand. I want to be sure that the left-handed strand is crossing over that right-handed strand that's now running out here to our left, okay? But then it's going to go behind. It's going to go behind the center strand, and it's going to go up through that P shape that we just made, and then pull. So your square knot happens in 3 steps. I'm sorry, 2 steps. I'm thinking about 3 knots. We are going to do 3 knots. Okay. There's the first step. Now I got to do the second step, and it is the exact same. It's just we're going to start on the left instead of the right. Okay. So P shape to the left going over the center strand. We're going to take the right strand, make sure it crosses over that left-handed strand that's now over here, and we're going behind and up through that backwards P shape. Okay. And then we're going to pull. Now, we've made 1 square knot. I know it's a little hard to see up here at the top because it's right up next to a knot that we've already made, but we're going to make 2 more of those so you're going to be able to see it. Okay, so again, I'm going to pick up the right. I'm crossing over the middle, so making our P shape. Taking the left, going over the top of that one and then back behind. And then pull. That's step 1. Okay, step 2 is the same thing, just starting on the left instead of the right. So our P shape is our backwards P shape. Taking the right strand, it crosses over, and then it goes back behind and up through that backwards P shape. And pull. Okay. We're going to do 1 more, and then we're going to move over here to the right-handed side. Okay. So, our P shape. Okay. Our left-handed side goes across that and back up behind and pull. Okay, and now we need to just repeat, but start on the left, our backwards P shape. That cord crosses over and then back behind and up through. Hi, Debbie, how are you? And pull. Okay, so now you can see, it's a little bit easier to see now that we've moved away from our knot. We've made 3. Now, how do you know for sure that we've made 3? Let me show you. So, 1, 2, 3. You're going to count the little bumps. 1 bump here, 2, and 3. That's how I know that I've completed 3 complete knots, because there's 3 bumps. Okay. So now I'm going to turn my tying station to the opposite side, right? I'm just going to move all those threads, and I'm going to pick up the 3 that are over here on the right. We're just going to repeat exactly what we did with our left-handed bundle of strands. Okay, we're going to do 3 square knots. So first things first, taking that right-handed strand, making our P shape over our center cord. Okay, left, behind and up through, and pull. Okay, on the left, same thing, backwards P shape, take the right cord, cross over, go behind and up through, and pull. The first couple of knots here right up next to our big knot are the trickiest for sure. This is going to get a lot easier, and it's going to lay much flatter as we work, okay? So you're just going to have to trust me on that. Now I'm going to do 2 more of those same square knots. Okay, start on the right, cross over, back behind, and up through, and pull. Okay, repeat. Just the left, take the right across, behind, and up through, and pull. Okay, 1 more, and then we're going to move on to the next step. So, P shape, that left cord crosses over, goes behind, and up through, and pull. We're going to do same thing on the left, P shape, well, our backwards P shape rather. Cross, behind, and up through. And pull. Whoops. Uh-oh, what's going on with my hip? Okay, there we go. All right, so we've got started, right? We got everything started. We've got 2 of our 3 rows. And now we're going to add a bead to this. I'm going to slide a bead. Remember, we added 2. That's all I had the patience for at the time. We're going to slide one of those beads up here to the middle, and it's going to sit between our 2 rows of our macrame. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to separate out our strands. So over here on the left, I'm going to take the 2 outermost left cords, and I'm going to separate those out. Just kind of move them out of my way. So all I have is this cord here. That's the innermost from the 3 on the left. And I'm going to do the same thing over here on the right. I'm going to take my outermost right-handed cords, those first 2, I'm going to move those out of the way. Now I'm just working with the 2 inner cords and our center cord where our bead is. And I'm going to make a square knot, and that's going to put that little bead right in its spot. It's going to hook it right in so it will be there forever. Make our little P shape over our center cord. Now we really truly are using our center cord now. And I'm going to take the strand that's over here on the left, cross over that, go up through that P shape and pull. And when I pull, it's not going to look real pretty at first, okay? It wants to sit kind of crooked. It doesn't want to make a nice flat knot. The ends, both ends of your bracelet are going to be a little wonky. I'm not going to lie to you. They're going to be a little weird looking at first. Okay. Now we got to repeat that because again, our square knot happens in 2 steps. So we're going to repeat that, but we're starting on the left, taking our right-handed cord behind and up through. Okay, and pull. Okay, now because we're working in sets of 3 knots, we just completed 1 in the center for our center row. We're going to do 2 more. Okay, so P shape, right-handed cord, left-handed cord, cross over, back behind, up through. How do I keep my Kathy in place? No, Kathy asked. How do I keep my tying station in place? I don't. I let mine slide all over the place. But I tell you what, let me finish this knot. I tell you what you can do. If you don't like your tying station to slide all over the place, I like to take double-sided tape. And I will take a loop of it. You know how you just make a loop of tape, and I'll stick it to the back, and I'll do it at the top and at the bottom and just kind of stick it down to my work surface. You can use painter's tape as well, but the double-sided tape I feel like is just a little bit stickier than the painter's tape. Sometimes the painter's tape is just not strong enough, but double-sided tape is like some crazy sticky business. So you can either make a loop, which I like to do because then I don't have to scrape it off the back when I'm finished, or you can just stick a piece of it down. But if you just stick a piece of it down and you don't want it to always be there again, you have to scrape it off. That always helps. But for a project like this where I'm constantly kind of turning it from one angle to the other, I don't mind for it to not be, secure on my table. Another thing you can do is that stuff that you put on your pliers. What is that stuff called, Joan? That magic stuff.
Magic tool.
Magic tool.
So if you take magic tool and you take like a toothpick, and you take some magic tool and you make like a thin layer of it on the back of your tying station, it gives it kind of a rubberized, and it keeps it from slipping. That only works if you're not working on a bead mat. That only works if you're working on a hard surface. But yeah, just to give it like a little rubberized, gives it a little stopper, if you will. Okay, so we've got 2 of our knots. We're going to do 1 more so that we've got our all 3 here. Yeah, Becky, you can use a sticky mat. I never even think about that. So Beadalon makes these awesome sticky mats. They're blue. And if they get dirty, you just rinse them off. You can put your sticky mats down. That's brilliant. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Put your sticky mats down and put your tying station over the top of your sticky mats. I know other companies make them too, but Beadalon makes them and they're blue. I love them. All right, P shape. Left cord goes across that and up through. Okay, and then we're going to do the left-handed side of that. right, so you can see how this is going to come together now, because now we need beads here, right? In these little spaces. So I'm going to turn my tying station at an angle, right? And now I've got my 3 strands back. I'm going to take this center strand, command strip picture hangers. Yep, those are awesome as well. I'm going to take the center strand out of these 3, and I'm going to thread a bead. I may have to go get the hairspray. Come on, little bead. No, I'm afraid I'll make a mess. I'll just do spit. Just, you know, y'all don't put DNA in your jewelry. do as I say. Use the spray, not your saliva. Okay. Thread a bead on. Now, you're going to see, okay, this is weird because it's kind of, the way it's sitting is kind of strange, but you're just going to have to follow me on this, okay? We're going to do a square knot around this bead, and it's going to pull this bead into the spot where we want it to be. So, this cord that was originally part of these 3, remember, but we used it to make some knots here. We're going to bring it back over here to these 3 on the left. So, I'm going to do my my P shape. And then my left-handed cord across that and up through and pull. And then we're going to do the left. Now, again, remember, hold on. Remember that I said the first little section of your bracelet is going to be kind of a mess. That's usually the first 3 beads, okay? So you can see we've got to build it out so that we can get nice flat rows, and we will get there. But we've got to get these first 3 beads added in order to make it look nice. Now, we finished 1 knot, so we're going to do 3 or 2 more so that we have 3. We're always working in little groups of 3. This bracelet with my DNA is not going up for sale. I'm not making any promises, but I can promise that it'll be dried DNA. That's so nasty. Ew. Probably not. Probably not. Okay, there's 2. I'm going to do 1 more. Extra cost for personalization. Y'all are gross. You should hear Joan and Colleen. Ew.
Say nothing.
Okay, Colleen didn't say anything. She's just nodding her head at Joan. Too funny. Okay, so here's our 3rd knot. So we've got 1, 2, 3, right? So now I'm going to go over here, turning my tying station to an angle, and I've got these 3 strands. I'm going to take the center cord out. And thread a bead, hopefully. Nicole says, you may need to auction that bracelet off.
I did.
I'm gonna have to find something to do. I gotta make some. I'm gonna have some money here, so might be a good way. Oh goodness! Now things are just getting weird. Okay, so there's our bead. Right now, I'm gonna pick up all 3 of these cords again. Right, even though one of them is coming out of that middle stuff, it's still part of the 3 that belongs out here. So same thing. Our P shape. I'm glad you guys have a sense of humor and are not like, oh, I'm out of here. We're taking the left hand one over, behind and up through. Cool. Okay. And then do the left. Yes, I have one of those strands in my mouth. I'm just holding it kind of tight. That's why I sound kind of funny. I don't have enough hands, right? And more DNA means more money. No, I'm just just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so 1 knot to lock that one in place. Okay, and now we're going to do 2 more. Uh-oh, what have I done here? Got to pay attention to my strands because it's easy to get them all twisted up and, you know, pick up the wrong one. So you gotta be mindful of which ones you're using for what little section. That's part of the reason I like to secure that center strand to the tying station, because I always know that's the center and I can't accidentally pick it up and try to make a knot with it. That's the only strand that stays in place through the entire design. And if you'll tape it down or attach it, you know, to the bottom of your tying station, you'll never grab it accidentally, which is very, very helpful. Okay. So there's my second knot. And we're going to do 1 more. Now when I add another bead, you're going to see how this is going to start to take more of a flat shape. Whereas here with these first 3 beads, we're kind of working in a triangle. It's a little hard to get everything to lay the way you want it to. But you'll see that now that we have those beads in those outer rows, it really kind of helps to give the piece some stability. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Now, to turn this the correct direction, right? Spread everything out so you can see. Okay. Now it's going to start to make a little bit more sense. So we're going to slide up our bead, or add a bead if you haven't done that, right? Take away the 2 outermost strands on both sides. Keep your inner strands to do your square knot, P shape, right? Over the center cord, taking the left cord, crossing over that, going behind and up through, and pull. Now don't pull super, super tight, because we want these rows, now that we have the structure, we want them to stay nice and flat. So don't pull really, really tightly on those knots. Same thing, but on the left, right hand cord across behind and up through. Okay. I'm going to do 3 more. So there's step 1. Here's step 2. So we've got 2 knots. Now we're going to do our 3rd knot. So step 1. Yeah, you really do have to kind of resist the urge to snug it all up. And that's, you know, that's exactly what you want to do in other situations. For this one, you really kind of have to fight the urge to do that, because if you do, what ends up happening is your bracelet ends up looking like this, right? It becomes like a little burrito or a taco. It won't lay out nice and flat. The only way you're going to get it to lay nice and flat is to resist the urge to squish all those knots up and not allow those beads to have their own little space. They all have to have their own little wiggle room in there, and you are going to see daylight between the rows and the beads. That's part of the coolness of this bracelet, though. So just remember that as you're working. Don't let that part of it get to you. All right, so now I'm ready to do this outer edge, right, on the left. So I'm going to bring all my 3 strands back together again. I'm going to take the center strand and I'm going to add a bead. Wanda says, tacos. That's all she heard out of everything I said was tacos. That's funny. I'm just kidding, Wanda. I do love tacos as well. Okay, now when I go to do my knots, I have been working with my tying station at an angle. Now I really want to kind of straighten it up a little bit in order to keep my rows coming down, okay? So even though this knot is going to kind of be off to the side just a little bit, we want to try to keep it as straight up and down as possible. So push that bead in there, right? Take that cord over the center. Take your left cord, cross over behind the center cord and up through. That's why it was really, really important that you see the first few groups of beads on this one, because of the different ways that you're going to kind of hold your work and your tying station in order to make it lay the way you want it to. Theoretically, this will all work out in your head just fine, but you really have to kind of swing the tying station from side to side and then know when to straighten it back up and work straight up and down. That's going to make a lot of difference in your piece. I know those things seem really trivial, but they do make a huge, huge difference in the overall look of this. Because just like wire, this hemp is not going to do naturally what you want it to do. You have to force it to lay where you want it to lay. It's not going to know how to do it on its own. You really have to coax it. All right, so there's that knot. Now you can see how much easier it is and how much cleaner. Up here it was not so clean because we were just getting started. We didn't have, we didn't have a whole lot to use as our backbone and our structure. This gave us the structure. Now things are really going to clean up quite a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to do 2 more knots right here on this cord. Now, I don't know that we'll make it through the entire bracelet, but we'll go as far as we can. And then I'll take it off the tying station and show you how to finish it, no matter how long it is. Okay. There's 2. Step 1, step 2. Okay, and now we have 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, come over here to this side. Find the middle, and we're going to add a bead to it. Colleen's huffing. No huffing.
Oh, that was me sighing.
Oh, it was Joan.
I was sighing.
Joan's sighing. She says, "Oh, what a mess." I'm going to sigh as well because I can't get this bead on this piece of hemp. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. How is it that I have all of these strands and it just seems that 1 or 2 of them are the most hateful? It's the only word I can think of. They're just hateful. Come on. If I had some wax, I have some wax in my Amazon cart. I don't know why I don't just go hit the checkout sign on that. I need to just do it. It's like, but you know how you've got things in your Amazon cart? I don't know how other people are, but my Amazon cart always has stuff in it. I always have stuff in my Amazon cart, but things will get bumped, right, to save for later because there's more interesting things to buy than whatever I put in the cart when I actually needed something. So the things that I need versus the things that I want kind of end up getting bumped. Okay, now I'm just getting frustrated. I'm going to trim this one off. Thank you for being patient. Well, there we go. Should have done that just to start with. Okay. Now that 5 minutes has gone by, we now have a bead on this side, and we're ready to go ahead with our knots. I'm going to take these out of my way so that I don't accidentally pick those up, and we're going to focus on these 3. I keep seeing this little, it looks like a Cooper hair attached to my project. That doesn't surprise me either. The Cooper hairs are definitely extra. So you pay for those as well as the DNA. That's why this piece is going to be like $200. I'm just kidding. So not, but it's funny.
Only if you put extra spit on it.
All right, now I'm going to pull, right? Making that little knot. Okay. Left-handed side. So just repeating those steps. I'm not going through the knots nearly as slow as I was in the beginning, because I figure at this point you've seen me do several of these. But if you do need a refresher, don't forget, you can always watch this in the replay. And all of our lives, shoot, you know what I forgot? I forgot to do this through StreamYard. I'm gonna have to make a sticky note. I'm gonna have to make a sticky note.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this will get uploaded to YouTube later. Our poor YouTube people are like, you said you were going to be live, and then I'm never live because I forget. It's going to take me a minute to get used to that. But in the meantime, this will get put over on YouTube, so you can always watch it on replay.
When I get home.
When Joan gets home. Whenever Joan gets around to it. No rush. Joan does a lot. All right. So we have 2 knots. We're going to do 1 more. Okay. I do need to take a little look at the time. What are we sitting at?
142.
142. All right, I'm gonna do 1 more. I'm gonna do 3 more beads, and then I'm gonna take this off. I realize that's not gonna be a full bracelet, but this is a long project, right? And there's no way I can expect you guys to sit here through the entire thing, but I do want to show you how to finish it, so I will be sure to do that part. But I am gonna go ahead and take this center cord out to put a bead on it. Okay. And slide our bead up, right? Now that we're in the center again, we need to get our 2 outer strands out of the way so that we don't accidentally pick those up to knot with them. Okay, and now we're just working with our inner cords. So we're making our P shape. The left-handed cord goes across that, behind, up through, and pull. The left-handed side makes our backwards P shape. Right-handed one goes across that, behind, and up through. Okay, we're going to do 2 more knots. There's 1, or step 1. Step 2, that makes 2 knots. Step 1. Sailor Sarah. Nope, not gonna happen, not gonna happen. You can't make me. Maybe in the paid group. I don't have to behave. I don't have to be nearly as well behaved. All right, so there are 3 knots. Now we're ready to add our beads on our outer edge, right? So I'm gonna take the center cord over here. Peggy, no, 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 not if my mom is listening. All right. Put that bead in. Okay. I need that shirt. Have you guys seen the shirt that says, I say, and it's actually has the F word, but I'm not gonna say it. It says, I say the F word a lot and I love Jesus. Like that's so my motto. I cuss a lot and I love Jesus. That's so me. You know, he groans. I know he groans every time I say a bad word, but like, I just say, you know what? You made me this way. Take no responsibility for my potty mouth. Oh gosh. Okay. I'm going to stop talking before I offend somebody. Whoa.
I digress.
You guys know I'm just playing. Okay. You guys know. I'm just teasing. Okay. I do kind of feel like, though, like for those of you who are believers in heaven and stuff, like there is an ongoing counter. Like there's a ticker. You know that there's like an angel up there with one of those little clickers in their hand, and they're ticking off every single time I say a bad word. And when I get there, they're going to be like, here's your total.
Oh, God. It's wet.
Yep. So bad. So bad. Oh, goodness. All right, there's 2. I'm glad people are laughing and giving me laughing faces, because you never know. I never want you guys to take me so seriously that like I offend you. Please don't be offended by me. I'm just a silly girl. Okay. So now we're going to do one more bead, and then I'm going to stop this. Okay. I'm going to stop because there's no way we can do the entire bracelet, but we are going to talk a little bit through some of the things that you're going to be experiencing if you're going to do this project or if you're working along. I'm going to go ahead over here and I know it. I can't help it. It's because you guys are here. You bring out my inner silly.
That's good.
I know. I needed it, so I'm very thankful. All right, so here we go. So there's our knot. Okay. Don't, like I said, don't snug it up. Don't try to make it nice and tight. Your knot should be tight, but you don't want to squish that bead into that little spot. Make sure it has lots of room to breathe in there. Okay. So there's one. Okay. There's 2. We're going to do one more. It really is. Karen says that's so pretty. It really is. It's such a beautiful piece. When you get it finished, it really just has a really cool look to it. The beads, I don't know if it's because of the 3 rows. I don't know if it's the facets on the Czech glass. I don't know what it is, but this has always been one of my very, very favorite macrame designs. And yeah, they can be a little messy, you know? I mean, it's not a perfect design, but you have to remember you're doing knots, and your knots and your cord that you're using, if you're using hemp, is very organic. So you're going to have very organic feeling knots, right? It's not going to be nice and uniform. It is going to have a nice flat shape. And you can tell once we got past these 3, it did kind of flatten itself out quite a bit. And it really does show off the 3 rows. But it, excuse me, it still very much has that kind of organic you know, really kind of natural thing going, and that has a lot to do with the kinds of materials that you're going to use. And so take that into consideration. You know, if you decide to use something like S-Lon or B-Lon, any of those nylon cords, or if you use some of the Chinese knotting cords or silk cord, all of your results are going to look a little bit different. Some of you are going to have more uniform kind of you know, fancier looking pieces. Those of you who use raw cotton or who are going to use hemp for this, you're going to get a look that's more kind of beachy and boho. Either way, right? Either way, it's going to be awesome. Now, let's talk before we finish this off. Of course, we've only made it not even to 3.5 inches. So we would need to double what we've done plus maybe another inch to 1.5 inches. To make the full piece. Let's see, hold on just a second. Jen says, is the hemp scratchy? Not really. And honestly, it's going to depend on where you buy your hemp from. If you buy just raw natural hemp, like in the hardware store, it is going to be scratchy because it hasn't been washed and treated. It also has a lot of dandruff to it, which is it's not really like real dandruff, but it flakes off. And I am very, very allergic to raw hemp. So I have to make sure that the hemp that I buy is in the jewelry department, not over in the hardware stuff, for that reason. And that stuff does tend to be real scratchy. It flakes off. It'll make you sneeze. It'll make your eyes swell up if you're like me and you're allergic to it. But this is very soft. It's been washed at least once. And the cool thing about hemp is the more you wear it, the softer it becomes. Even if you take it off when you shower or you swim, it can get wet. It's very, very durable. But even if you take it off and, you know, and you don't let it get completely soaked in water, the natural oils from your skin are going to gradually over time soften it up even more. Now, if you buy raw hemp cord, it takes a really, really long time. In fact, if you're going to do that, I kind of recommend taking your hemp and putting it in the washing machine and washing it like 2 cycles. That usually helps to get rid of all of the little flakiness that happens, and it makes it nice and soft. Okay, so what was I? Oh, we were going to talk about a couple of things before I finish this off, just to show you. So, something that, where we got started at the beginning, right? We took ours and we had 4 pieces of hemp, right? And we folded those in half and did our knot. So we did a loop. If you don't want to do it this way, right? If you don't want to do that and you don't want to waste that 3 feet of hemp, which I can use in another project, sorry, I'm going to toss it. But if you don't want to do it that way, you can actually use bead stringing wire as your core. Okay. So instead of doing this whole knot fold over, you would attach this to a bead stringing wire, do a wire guardian or whatever you want to do, right? And then you would tie on your strands of your hemp, and you'll never see that bead stringing wire running through the center, right? But you only need 1 piece. You don't need 3. You just need the 1 for the center. That's going to allow you to be able to use regular hardware instead of a button and a knot. If you don't really know how to do that, I have a lot of projects where we've done knotting projects over bead stringing wire. The starting and the finishing of the project is going to be just the same as those. Okay, so if you want to refer back to those to know how to do that. I just really like the overall look when I'm using hemp and making knots of doing the button, just because it seems like it fits with it really well. But if you're going to use something like, satin cord to do this, you might want a more refined kind of look, right? Okay. So now we're going to finish this off and we're going to pretend like we have a full piece. Before I do that though, I want to make this little section right here as even as possible. So I am going to add 1 more bead to the center. That's really going to bring these 3 little sections together. Okay, so bring that in. Now, we're going to pretend like we did a whole piece and it's ready to go. We're going to take it off of the tying station. Okay. Just take that off. Set this to the side because I'm actually going to be using this in the hardwired project this afternoon. All right, so now what you would do is you would just finish off the exact same way that you started. You're going to very gently, you don't want to squeeze everything out of shape, but you want to take all of your ends, right? And you very, very gently want to bring them all together and tie an overhanded knot. Okay. And when you pull this knot down, be gentle. Yes, you're going to have some strands that have nothing on them. Those are going to show. That's just kind of the way this project looks. Again, pull each individual cord. That's really going to help you to not have such a mess of a knot. Okay. Mine is still kind of a mess, but you get the overall idea. So you're going to have this nice flat section in the middle. You're going to have your two kind of triangle pieces on the ends. That's just the way that it ends up working. Uh-oh, one of my strands didn't get pulled. You see how there's a loose spot in my knot? That's why pulling each individual strand really helps. Okay, so now what you would do is, let's see, Joan has here's another pair. So I'm going to trim some of this off because we don't need all of this. Okay. Now, I'm going to use a shank style button. You don't have to use a shank style button. You can use a regular button if you want to. And if you're going to use a regular button, you're going to do this a little bit differently. But I like to thread on. I like to try to get as many strands through the shank as I can get. It's not going to be all of them, but I am going to try to fit as many as I can. Okay. And with the way things are going today, it's probably only going to be 2 or 3. That's okay. Oh no. Goodness. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to tie, we're just going to tie this button on to a couple of strands. I'll show you. If I can get at least one more strand through here, I'll be happy. Just one. Doesn't have to be a bunch. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. You guys are so patient with me today. I appreciate that so much. Quick, quick, grab it before it falls. No. There we go. Okay, so I got at least 2 strands through there. You got to get at least 2 or 3 at the very, very least. Okay. Then you want to pull that down up next to the knot that you made. That's why it doesn't matter if you've got all strands through there or not. Okay. Doesn't make any difference. You just want to be sure that it's attached to a couple of strands. Then you're going to take the rest of this and you're going to tie another overhanded knot and you're going to cinch this knot down right up next to, that made somebody mad. I'm sorry. I don't know how or why. But yeah, so we're going to cinch this one down right next to, you want to get as close to your button as possible. That number 1 is going to keep your buttons in one direction. That's going to keep it towards the top of your bracelet. It's also going to kind of hide the knots so that they're not part of your design here, right? So they're very much hidden in the design. Then you can come over here and trim off. Now, if you want to tie on little beads to each one of these and have extra dangles, you can totally do that. But this is your clasp. Look at our little tiny baby size bracelet. So you just hook it on like that and you've got your little, it's almost a ring. It's so tiny. That's so funny. But that's what your bracelet would look like, you guys, if you finish the whole piece. But I do, you know, there's no way we would have gotten through that entire thing, but you get all of the steps, right? You see how to do each single row, and then you've got how to finish it off with your button. That button does not have to be attached to all of those. If you can get all your strands through there, that's awesome. But if not, that's okay too, right? Just tie a really good knot and cinch it down. lay this on my arm so you would get an idea of what it would look like finished. One of my very, very favorites. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's really, if you can master the square knot, this one is a lot of fun. Jen says, how about waxed linen? Yes, waxed linen is probably my second favorite thing to knot with other than hemp. Just because the waxy part of it gives it such a nice uniform, it's just a little bit cleaner look, a little bit cleaner, but still has the boho feel to it. So there you go, you guys. Maria said she was holding her breath while I was stringing that hemp through. Me too. Me too. All right, I'm going to turn you around. Okay. Hello, my friends. All right, so I do have a couple of things to talk about right before we go, but I do want to show you what this looks like from a different angle. Our teeny beany little... I've got to finish this because that blue is just so beautiful, right? It's so, so pretty. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. I really, really do. I know hemp and macrame is not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But it is also worth, you know, seeing or at least watching. There's nothing wrong with being a well-rounded jewelry designer, right? To know a little bit about a lot of things really kind of, you know, helps you have more creativity. So... all right, couple of things before we go. Just a couple. First and foremost, I want everybody to know that the Hardwired group is now open for enrollment. And so those of you who are interested in joining our Hardwired group, now is the opportunity. We've got about a week for you to sign up and make sure that you give your PayPal information to Kathy. She will take care of you, send you your invoice, and as soon as your invoice gets paid, you have access to the group. For those of you who do not know what the Hardwired group is, let me give you a really quick rundown, and then I will let you go. So the Hardwired group is a private Facebook group that we meet 2, sometimes 3 times a week. We do projects in the Hardwired group that are harder. That's why it's called Hardwired. We do wire projects. We do stringing projects. This week we're doing macrame project. What did we do last week? I can't remember. What did we do last week, guys?
That bracelet that beat it around.
Oh, we did bead weaving last week. I forgot about that. That was our first bead weaving project. We used gemstones and little druck beads and a few seed beads. So I really try to make the Hardwired group very much a well-rounded group. But keep in mind, those projects are intermediate to low on the advanced level. I don't do anything super crazy hard just because those are a little bit more time-consuming. But they are harder projects than what you find here on the regular lives. Also, you have a little bit more access to me because we are a smaller group. We have a smaller community. We are a very close-knit community. We have a lot more camaraderie. We meet in mini groups and do little things together. We're planning some contests and things like that. We've got like a design, like chopped style thing coming up that we're working on. And there are other perks to being part of the Hardwired group. For instance, once a month, we have a special guest from the industry that comes in and spends an hour with us, giving them we get their attention, they have our attention, and just some, for instances, we've had Meredith Roddy from Beadalon, we had Nilay Patel, we've had Sam, so we've had special guests that come in and speak or teach. We also have like a designer of the month, which is actually coming up today. That gets posted this afternoon. Just some extra things that you don't get in the regular group. Plus, it helps to sustain my business. So, I mean, you know, if that's your thing and you want a little bit harder or you want a little bit more extra Sara time, definitely consider signing up for the Hardwired group. You can pay for it monthly or you can pay for it quarterly. Either way, it is super, super affordable and we would love to have you. So if you're considering it, please go send your request to join the group and Kathy will get you taken care of and we'll get you started right away.
And answer all the questions.
Yes, make sure you answer all of the questions so that way we don't have to track you down, right? Okay, so that's all for that. The one other thing that I do want to mention to you guys is there will not be a Thursday live this week. I know. I'm sorry. So you got me today. The Hardwired group will have me tonight. We usually are not together on Wednesdays. Wednesday, I was supposed to have a Michael's class this week. I actually do not. Meredith is going to be teaching in my spot. The Thursday class, it's just not going to happen. I'll still be around, but there won't be a Thursday live here in the regular group. But Friday will be our regular, as scheduled, Feel Good Friday show with kits and fun things and our instant gratification jewelry. So just set yourself a reminder just to remind yourself so that you don't come looking for me on Thursday and be like, where is Sarah? I'm letting you know ahead of time. I won't be here, but Lois says, is that info on your Facebook page? Our Hardwired information, is that on the Facebook page?
I'm going to see if I can, I think it might be, an old one might be an announcement. I'll pin it.
Okay, Joan's going to take care of that for you. Good question, good question. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the weekend. If you are part of the Hardwired group, I will be seeing you again at 4 p.m. For the rest of you, have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you again on Friday. Bye, guys!